All right, everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Slides number 76. Um, got some cool stuff planned here. We'll see how it goes. Of course, I pushed the wrong button to start things off here on my slideshow. Hang on one second here, and I will do it the right way this time. And then we go to oh, down here, and we will do this. You should all be seeing the title slide at this point.
Not yet.
Not
You?
yet.
There it is.
There it
Got it.
goes. There's Peyton.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, welcome to the slideshow. We're going to get underway here with some current events. I didn't get a chance to show current events last month, just had too many other slides to get through. So we're going to go back to, oh, come on. We're going to go back to last May, or yeah, last May, back to May. Wasn't that long ago. And on May 10th, Woodstown Central, which is just a few minutes from where I am here in South Jersey, they debuted Writing Company 902 in service. Their steam engine went down with a bad axle. So they took the steam engine out of service and brought over the FP7 they've been working on. They got two of these. They were going to bring them over together when both were finished. But with the steam engine down, they decided they needed a cool engine over in Woodstown, so they brought over the 902. Here it is at Alloway Junction on the Salem branch and crossing Woodstown Alloway Road. Looks pretty good. The steam engine's got a bad axle. The axle was sent to Strasburg. It's been fixed. The axle is back in Woodstown now, and they're working on getting it back installed again. Here's an old car that was parked at the South Woodstown complex. I just went into Photoshop and put a few lassos on things and try to get rid of some of the background distractions, and did an okay job with it. This is in downtown Woodstown. Oh, by the way, while I'm thinking of it, mark September 21st on your calendar. We'll be announcing fairly soon a railroad photography event on Woodstown Central, back-to-back F units on the green passenger cars and steam on the freight. So keep that in mind. South Jersey, especially around Swedesboro, was once a huge place for vegetable processing. Del Monte had a big place there. The only one left is Grosso's, and here's the train going behind Grosso's in Swedesboro. And across Memorial Lake in Woodstown, we'll be doing run-bys here with the freight and passenger trains on September 21st. This is down in Mannington, the south end of the line near Salem. And then back at South Woodstown. That Lackawanna boxcar will be directly behind the steam locomotive on the photo freight when we run that. And putting the engine away. That same day, I gave a program to the Perryville, Maryland chapter of the NRHS, and I went down and got this shot before the meeting. A train crossing the bridge that will be replaced in the next decade or so. They're building the new bridge now across the Susquehanna River. Headed over to Claymont, Delaware, Northeast Corridor, the new SEPTA station there for a handful of shots. This is through the glass from the walkway overhead. Acela going north. These, hard to tell. Amtrak's been saying they're going to replace them almost any time now, but you never know. Oh, before I forget, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to jump in. Unmute yourself and ask away. Here's the Claymont station. This is fairly new, a couple of years old now, I guess. And then I was over in, oh, here's why I was there. Uh, Amtrak has two of their ACS 64s wrapped for a promotion with Crayola. And here's violet blue going through the Claymont station. Over on SEPTA, they have a Silverliner 4 set up as a heritage unit for the Pennsylvania Railroad. It's got the Pennsy Keystone. It's got the old SEPTA meatball logo on it. Kind of cool. Here it is at the ex-Pennsy station in Moylan Rose Valley. Not sure why this is advancing on its own. This is the station at Wallingford. Two Silverliner 4s passing each other there. Over to the corridor again. This is an Acela going past Hook Tower in Marcus Hook. Another southbound Amtrak train behind an ACS 64. Back over to Claymont for a northbound train. And here's violet blue again. Another Acela heading south. And ACS 64 heading south. SEPTA going north. And the other, well, not yet. We're getting there. And the other Crayola unit, Dandelion, going south here. Doug Scott was heading north, and I met up with him in Newark, Newark, Delaware. Not Newark, New Jersey, but Newark, Delaware. Got to pronounce it right. Just hung out in the corridor there. If you're on any of the Amtrak forums on Facebook, you'll recognize the name Betty Riggin White. She practically lives on the platform there at Newark, and that's her down there. Southbound Acela. The old Pennsy station in Newark is now the home to the Historical Society, and they're putting a new roof on it. And an Acela train. Last weekend was it? Yeah, last weekend. Got invited over to the East Penn Railway over in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. They rolled out their semi-quincentennial unit, 1776, and it's fresh. I won't say it's a paint job. Most of this is a wrap, but it's the third semi-quincentennial unit that I know of to come out so far for the US 250th next year. Wheeling and Lake Erie had the second, and then a couple of years ago, Pennsylvania and Southern out in central Pennsylvania did theirs. But they posed it for some daytime stuff, and then we did some night photos with it as well. This will be entering the regular freight pool on the East Penn, although it'll be confined to trains going west out of Kennett Square for a while because they need to clear some brush east of Kennett Square to keep from damaging the wrap job on the locomotive. And they posed it with one of their other units there. and the attractive yellow and blue paint scheme they have. Okay, we're going to depart trains here for a little bit. We're going to head out to Reading, Pennsylvania. The Mid-Atlantic Air Museum is located at the airport in Reading, and every year, first weekend in June, they have the World War II weekend. They bring in airplanes and reenactors, and it's quite the event. I rolled out there on Friday afternoon, and the first person I ran into was Pete Laro and his girlfriend Alea. This is at the French Village. The French Village is a somewhat permanent set of buildings on the airport grounds there that's only used during the World War II weekend. Um, I kind of like the dart stuck in Hitler's nose there. This is some scenes from the French Village. And then I bought the photography package, which is $300, which is really quite the deal there because it gives you all 3 days access, which is like $45 a day. All 3 days access to the air show. Plus, you get a Friday evening photo walk, a Saturday morning photo walk, a night photo session, and access to a photo pit inside the airport grounds to shoot the air show with proper sun angles. So I headed over to the photo pit on Friday afternoon just in time to get the end of the parachute show. And here's Panchito, B-25 coming in. Then it started raining, so the rest of the air show didn't happen. So I headed back over to the main grounds. Got this guy here with his fancy camera. And then they have a big band dance on both Friday and Saturday night. And I did some photography of some of the couples there, dancers, decked out in their 1940s dress. Then it was time for the Friday evening sunset walk around. Didn't get much of a sunset, but we did go over to Doc, this B-29. That's about all we got as far as the sunset goes. This flew overhead while we were shooting, and then went back over to the dance for a couple more shots. Saturday morning, our sunrise photo shoot. Not much of a sunrise, still cloudy, but this is on Doc, the B-29. But Pete arranged to have some reenactors get out of bed early, really early. This is like 5:45 in the morning. We did some photography. We particularly wanted to recreate a photo that was taken back during World War II of four women dressed in flight gear. So we got Kim, Gabriella, Raquel, and Alea here ready to pose for us. And then one of the reenactor groups came out and posed for a few shots. There's the whole gang all together. And then somebody found a photo taken back in the 1940s during the war of a person who looks just like Raquel. So we had Raquel recreate that photo. The hard part was keeping the sunglasses on Raquel's nose. They were a bit oversized for her. And there's Alea. And then Pete and Alea again. From there, I headed back over to the French Village. They stage a battle there once on Friday, twice on Saturday. Here's some women posing in the windows at the French Village just before the battle starts. It's the U.S. Liberation Force coming in against the German occupying force. Um, Unfortunately, the battle changes every time. They do different things. And unfortunately, most of the action this time took place down to my right here, where I couldn't get a real good photo angle. So I didn't get a whole lot of the battle. Got a few shots afterwards, however. Then I went and took a nap, and after my nap, it was time to head over to the big field for the Battle of the Pacific demonstration. um, they do both air and ground battles. Unfortunately, a big thunder cell materialized just before the battle took place, so they grounded the airplanes, but decided to go ahead with the land battle. So here are the U.S. forces moving in against the Japanese. But the real highlight of the land battle is the flamethrower. This is pretty impressive. Then once the land battle is over, they do a recreation of um, Iwo Jima. From there, I drove back over to the photo pit for the air show. According to my notes, I'm not an airplane person, so I if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. According to my notes, this is an 85 Sky Raider. This is a Japanese plane of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what model. It's a reproduction, I'm pretty sure. And Doc again coming in. I think this is a Douglas C-53. And Panchito. Shooting airplanes is tough. Um, you got to use a low shutter speed because you want the props to have a full disc rotation. You don't want to freeze the props at all. But of course, the slow shutter speed when you're shooting something that's traveling at 100 miles an hour or faster in the sky makes it really tough to get a crisp shot. You got to really it's a lot of luck involved. This is a P-51 Mustang, by the way. This is the plane everybody wanted to see. This is a German 262, not a Prairie steam locomotive, but a a jet fighter that the Germans were developing during the war, but it wasn't finished. It wasn't finished until after the war was ended. Had they had this before the war ended, we'd be telling some different stories right now. You can see here I didn't quite get the full disc rotation on the propellers. Guess some prop blur there. Once again, I'm not a plane person. And they finished off with the missing man formation. Then it's back over for the Saturday evening dance. I got a couple of shots there. And then came the night photo session, which is pretty impressive. Pete Laro arranges it. First thing they do is they put down water on the runway to get a good reflection. Here we have a Thunderbird in the background there. And then once the ground's wet, they fire up the airplane, and you have about 10 minutes to get as many angles as you can during those 10 minutes. And actually, 10 minutes is plenty of time to get a good 5 angles if you hustle. And even though there's 70 people here, everybody was pretty cooperative. Everybody moved. Nobody camped out in the prime spots. You could really get a variety of angles. From there, it was over to the Cessna T-50, the bamboo bomber. Here you see the air marshal getting ready to give him the permission to fire up the engines. And then we finished off with this SB2C Helldiver. And during the shoot, he put his wings up and down. Then we were done with that. Somebody brought over this Jeep that his dad used to have. It was an old uh, airport Jeep used on the taxiways. So he posed that for a couple of shots. After that, I drove home. I didn't stay for Sunday. I hear that Sunday was mostly a lot of dodging rain, not much for the air show to get the squeeze in because of all the storms. So that concludes the World War II weekend, but we still have more slides here to go. Um, Went out and rode a trip with the Friends of Philadelphia Trolleys in Philadelphia on SEPTA using Kawasaki car number 9000, which is now 45 years old. First Kawasaki delivered to Philadelphia. It's been restored to its as delivered broad stripe scheme. And as you can see on the destination board, we are waiting for the sun, which never came out. We took it all over the city, our usual eclectic mix of churches and cityscapes and cool houses and things like that. This is near the Philadelphia Zoo. The bus there is a model that SEPTA no longer uses, and it's now privately owned. So this guy was out with his ex SEPTA bus, following the trip around and posing it in various shots. In the background, where the signal bridges are, that's a zoo interlocking on the Pennsylvania Railroad, now Amtrak. Going past the exotic convenience store. I'm not sure what they sell there. Route 15 was actually closed. Wasn't closed. They had no trolleys in service because the trolleys are based out of the Callow Hill Car Barn, but they can only be inspected at the Elmwood Car Barn. Like they need to be inspected every month or 2 or 3 as street vehicles. Unfortunately, the diversion route they use to get from Callow Hill to Elmwood was shut down for track work. So one by one, all the PCC2s fell out of service. So Route 15 became all bus. So on this day here, we were the only streetcar out on Route 15. They can't use the Kawasaki's on Route 15 because Route 15 was built with federal money that requires ADA compatibility, and the Kawasaki's are not ADA compliant. So we were the only streetcar on the 15 that day. So we were able to stop at the zoo here and wait for Amtrak to go overhead for a shot. Philadelphia has a lot of murals up along the trolley routes. Here's a new one of Will Smith. There's our chase bus behind us there. The White Horse Tavern, which has nightlife and good food, according to the sign. Down into the subway at 13th Street Station. You can see the mural has a 13 Yaden car on the mural. So we put 13 Yaden on our destination sign and posed it next to that. And another photo stop down in the tunnel. This is at the 40th Street tunnel portal. Tunnel is just sort of behind me here. And posed it with our bus again. Going past the Woodland Car Barn. That's the heavy maintenance facility for SEPTA. All the PCC2s are being rebuilt there. They're the folks who like heritage stuff. So they don't ask permission. They just do heritage cars if they can and kick them out and hope SEPTA doesn't mind. So the 9000 was an official SEPTA project. The Woodland shop has since done 9100 in the same scheme. They're just finishing up a Kawasaki car for the Red Arrow side of things, double ender. That'll be out soon. And they're kind of plotting to maybe do a couple of PCC2s in heritage schemes. The key is they can't buy anything. Got to use stuff that's on hand. So any paint that's on hand, they can try to create a heritage scheme out of it. This is the Route 10 tunnel portal at 36th Street. Only Route 10 uses this one. And we finished off the day coming back into the Callow Hill Car Barn. To wrap things up, I wanted to do some steam stuff. And I don't think I've done a whole lot with Spokane, Portland, and Seattle 484 number 700. So I got a handful of shots here that I took of the locomotive over the years. This is a night photo session we did at the Brooklyn Roundhouse in Portland, Oregon. That's where I used to live until they tore down the roundhouse. Union Pacific needed the land. It now lives at the Oregon Rail Heritage Foundation Museum in downtown Portland. This was during the 2005 NRHS convention. Here's a shot taken from the cab of 4449, looking out at the 700 in the Brooklyn Roundhouse. And there's the Southern Pacific 4449 posing with the 700. In 2001, I chased the 700 from Portland to Pasco, Washington. Here we see it at Dallasport along the Columbia River. And it's on home rails here. This is former SPNS trackage. So getting a big steam locomotive on its home rails is pretty cool. This is going through Mesa, Washington. These are not in order. Pasco, Washington, after crossing the Columbia River. This is going through Paha, Washington. Grain elevators were what my targets for a lot of the trip. Here we see another set of elevators at Hatton, Washington. And this is a meet that I had on the outbound trip. At Maryhill. Excuse me. The various dam projects over the years on the Columbia have resulted in the rerouting of some of the SP&S trackage. If you look just above the locomotive here, you will see a former SP&S tunnel down there. The line had to be elevated through here when they put in a dam. This is in 2000. It's going to work. Yeah, this was in 2005. The quintessential spot for the SP&S is Cape Horn. And I had done the night photo session for the NRHS earlier in the week. And they gave me a ticket to ride the parlor car on this train. But then I heard that the 700 was going to lead the double header on the SP&S. And I could not pass up a shot of the 700 going through Cape Horn. So I did that instead. Going back to these, it's got out of order somehow. Going back to the 2001 trip. This is a photo run by at Avery. The 2005 doubleheader going through Dowsport. Another view of the 2005 doubleheader back at Avery again. For the doubleheader, they turned the locomotives at Wishram, Washington, and I got invited up into the cab of the 4449 during the move. So here I am looking out of the cab of 4449 at the 700 as they're doing the move to turn the locomotives. And then the return trip, the 4449 led, and I'll do more with that in a future show. I got two more shots here. Back at Cape Horn again, the 700 coming out of Cape Horn Tunnel on the 2001 trip. And it's going to finish off here with a photo run by at Ritzville, Washington on the 2001 trip. My philosophy when I'm chasing is if I happen to stumble into a run by location, I let the folks on the train get set up first. They paid for the trip. They get the best spots for the run by. I'll let them set up first and I'll work around them. This one here, the prime photo line, was actually about 100 yards behind me. So I asked if they would mind if I ran up the tracks and got behind a pile of ties, and they didn't mind. So a few of us did this. This is actually from ahead of where the prime photo line was. So that's a few shots of the SP&S 700, and that is going to wrap things up for this week. The next Zoom program is on July 30th, which is logically a Wednesday. For those in the area, Picnic Rail is coming up in Blandon, Pennsylvania, near Reading. I'll be doing a live show there on July 26th. The event begins at 1 o'clock at Mares Grove in Blandon, next to the ex-Reading Main Line, now Norfolk Southern. Watch trains, have snacks all afternoon. Barbecue chicken is served at 5 o'clock. Plenty of food. And then as soon as it gets dark enough to show photos, I'll be doing a program. It's all under a pavilion. If it rains, no problem. Still come out and enjoy some food. For more information, you can contact Phil Reppert. He is on Facebook. He is also with us here tonight. I'm going to sign off now for all the folks on YouTube. And